Hey guys, welcome back to the Piston Show. Today I've got quite a special car to tell you about. One that was the first BMW to actually come with ABS and was also the first ever BMW to offer an airbag, even though it was optional. I'm talking about the E23 BMW 7 Series, which is the first 7 Series ever in the BMW lineup. But as usual, before we go any further, a word from our sponsor. Hey guys, I'd just like to take you a couple of seconds to tell you about BH Petrol's Infinity RON 97 Euro 4M, because it's not like any other petrol out there, because it features advanced German additives that go into your engine, clean out deposits that have already formed from before, and if you continue using the Infinity RON 97 Euro 4M, you're basically ensuring that your engine continuously runs clean. So not only that, it also comes with an advanced friction modifier that goes in, reduces the friction of your engine, ensuring that you get maximum power and maximum fuel efficiency. Besides that, it also comes with 90% reduced sulfur. 90% guys! So what this does is, it makes sure that your engine runs clean, and it's also great for the environment. So the next time you pour BH Petrol's Infinity RON 97 Euro 4M, know that you're making the right choice. Here to tell us more about the car is the owner himself, Mr. Deepak, who has owned this car since 2011?
Since 2011, yes.
Since 2011.
Yeah.
And Scott, you've been telling me a lot of interesting things about how you came across this car. You mentioned that this was actually your first ever classic car.
That's right.
And how do you come across it?
It's been one of those cars that I've always wanted to own,
Yeah.
or look to as a child.
Yeah.
And just so happened that we were on a holiday trip to Cameron Highlands.
Right.
Saw a car there, but it was in very bad state.
Okay.
That got the itch going. And,
Okay.
And when I came back to KL, then the hunt started.
Oh, okay. So you actually saw this car in Cameron Highlands?
No, it wasn't this particular car.
Right.
But a 7 Series.
Okay.
I found this car in Klang.
Okay.
The owner was a collector.
Okay.
And he was, had an extra.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I took it over.
Nice. So this generation of cars are actually quite interesting because I think they bridge the gap between the hydraulic era and the electronic era. Like this generation is also the first BMW that, if I'm not mistaken, comes with a service interval indicator as well.
That's right.
So
yes.
those days it used to actually light up to tell you when service was due, or it even had a digital panel, a light panel that told you things like when the oil was low and when a bulb needed replacing and such,
Yeah.
which back then was revolutionary. These are type of things that we get in like a Myvi these days, but of course the Myvi, they have come with tons of features nowadays.
Yeah.
But it was considered quite revolutionary for its time.
That's right. I mean, when I was growing up as a child,
Yeah.
this was one of the most complicated cars around.
Yeah.
Workshops didn't want to touch it. It had all these electronics.
Yeah.
But by today's standards, they're actually very, very simple cars. to
Correct.
fix. Yeah.
But yet, it has certain features that you've shown me that for its era is quite mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Like such as the fact that it actually has a safety kit built into the armrest, which I'll show you shortly, the rear armrest, which is actually quite important because there are not a lot of cars that come with safety kits these days
Yeah.
at all. And even if they do, that safety kit is in the boot. But it makes sense to have it in the passenger cell,
Yeah.
because in the event that you have an accident and you are in the passenger cell, you're caught somewhere in there, to immediately treat yourself. I mean, of course, these days you have
Easy reach,
emergency teams and such, but I thought that was quite an interesting touch. So yeah, even the color is customized, you mentioned?
The color is custom. Originally it was beige,
Okay.
or cashmere silver by BMW's names.
Right.
I was, I was at a point where I was rebuilding the engine. The engine was out.
Right.
I thought since the engine was out, let's do some body work.
Okay.
It turned out there was a lot of rust,
Okay.
hidden rust that you
Right.
couldn't see. Fixed all that, and when it came to color selection, I started out with the BMW forest green,
Okay.
but then customized it, added a bit of yellow to it.
Right.
So that's what you see now.
Nice. And so, besides the bodywork, the rims though, even though they look great, it really adds to the stance of the car, but they're not the original rims.
They're not original. They are original BMW though.
Okay.
They're from a later model.
Okay.
In fact, the former owner of these rims, a close friend of mine, also has a E23.
Right. Right.
Very well maintained car.
So okay. So within the same group,
Within the group, it's
Right.
within the family.
And then the bumpers on this car are also it's quite unique because the bumpers are they detachable?
They are not detachable in the modern sense.
Yeah. Because they are attached to the chassis.
They are directly bolted onto the chassis, so if you hit something or someone, it's going to hurt.
Yeah. Not only you but also the other person.
The other person.
And this was also the car that it's sort of carried on the design language, especially the very iconic shark fin,
The
right?
shark nose, yeah.
Yeah,
That's,
the shark nose.
Yeah.
So, and has this model progressed further? It got rid of that shark nose, but still this is, I guess, in between?
It is, no actually, I mean if you look at all the models of this era and
Yeah.
subsequently, this is the sharpest one.
Okay.
It's the one with the most,
Angle.
fold back in, right? All the models after this, the facelifted version, the 5 Series and 3 Series and so on, they toned it down a little bit.
Right.
Probably realized something very elementary.
Yeah.
Is if you stand here, the first thing to hit the wall is not the bumper, it's this. So, I think they realized that and
Oh wow, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
yeah.
So,
But still, the shark nose name was given to all BMWs of that era.
right.
Yeah.
Let's check out the engine, and then we're going to take it out for a drive. So they are heart of the car, but you mentioned that this is not the original.
No, it's not. So when I bought the car, the former owner had transplanted a 2.5 in.
Okay.
I think mainly for road tax reasons.
Right. Okay.
So when I got it, I sourced a period correct 3.5 liter
Right.
straight six. Put that back in. The engine is from a 6 Series.
I have a fetish for straight six engines. Seriously, I find them to be among the best engines. Of course, V6s, V8s, those are amazing, but there's just something about
Classic
straight
about the
six.
V6,
Yeah, and but you also had some drama with this engine because it actually blew up on you.
It did, yes.
I don't think you want to mention at what speed it blew up on you,
No,
but
we were legal.
keeping it legal. But yeah, and you mentioned that even after it blew up, you didn't want to swap it out. Instead, you rebuilt it.
Yes, I chose to rebuild it because the problem with buying a half cut or a used engine, as I did with this, is
Right.
you never know what you're getting.
Yeah.
You don't know the history of the engine,
Correct.
how long it's been sitting idle.
Correct.
So I figured it's a good time to rebuild. I know exactly what I'm getting.
Yeah.
In this case, the crankshaft bearings had two of them had shattered.
Right.
So it caused a lot of scouring to the piston bores.
Okay.
So I had to rebore.
Right.
So it's actually slightly more than 3.5 liters now.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's essentially a brand new engine.
Nice. What about the gearbox?
Gearbox is a 5-speed manual.
Okay.
It came with the car as a 5-speed manual.
Standard.
And I've kept it that way.
So that was part of the original powertrain, or is
The
it a
original
different-
powertrain.
The original powertrain. You also mentioned that this actually kept you sane during the lockdowns.
Yes.
See, this is why a good car is important in your life.
Yeah, you spend time doing the little things. As you'll see in the interior, I did a little bit of touch-ups there. Started looking for vacuum leaks in the entire intake system.
Yeah.
Ripped out the windscreen washer
Right.
system because that was leaking all over. I'm redoing that now. So yeah, all sorts of little tweaks and fixes.
How difficult is it to maintain this engine?
Actually, very easy.
Easy?
Very easy. The nice thing with cars of that era is parts are very modular. They're interchangeable.
Yeah.
So, a 5 Series that had the same engine,
Yeah.
you can use a lot of those parts.
Okay.
The engine was carried on to the subsequent models as well.
Right.
So you get little updates to the fuel injection system, the wiring and all that. So the next inline 7 Series used a lot of these parts.
Right.
So it's still easy to find.
Okay. So parts are not a problem.
Not a problem. The only parts that are problem are trim related.
Trim. Okay.
Yeah. So you know, if you shatter a windscreen, then you're done. You know.
So before we start talking about the interior, just like for anybody that is starting out or looking for this car, or somebody that is looking to get started with the E23, in terms of managing the powertrain, no matter which one is it, do you have any advice?
No, really, keep it running.
Yeah.
I think that's the most important thing.
Use the car.
For a few years, I wasn't using it much.
Yeah.
I parked it in a friend's condo and see it. Every 2 or 3 months, I go and start it.
Yeah.
It's not, the car hates it.
Yeah.
But now I keep it at home.
Yeah.
Every other weekend, I take it on a decent run.
Right.
And the car is so much happier.
Cool.
Parts don't, especially things like rubbers in the engine, where keeping them idle drains them of the lubrication, the oil, and then they dry out. When the seals dry out, they start to leak.
Right.
So little things like that, when you keep the car running, no matter what state your car is in, keep that constant usage, and it'll
reward
no
you.
issue, reward you.
Yeah. Do I want to ask you about fuel consumption?
No, I probably don't. The beautiful thing with this car is I don't know what the fuel consumption is because the odometer is busted.
Right. Okay.
But I mean, I fill it up. Say I go on a drive like this, I go back, I fill about 50 ringgit.
Nice.
That's it. Yeah.
So let's talk about the interior. Let's take it out for a drive. Such a beautiful car from what personally I think is from a beautiful era of the automobile, of the cars itself. I think this is when cars were a very good balance between good looks, a comfortable interior, nice piece of engine, powertrains. I think, of course, the 90s were great as well, but then even after that, then it became too electronic and too much. You can't just tinker on it and keep yourself sane.
Yeah, you can't DIY anything.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's go. Guys, before we take it out for a drive, Deepak has pointed something very cool to me. I mean, this looks like a regular armrest, right? But you open it up, and it's actually the emergency kit that is neatly tucked away inside the armrest. And not only neatly tucked away, but this is an unused, undisturbed emergency kit. I mean, look at the coloring, it's all yellow. I mean, from all the years that has been neatly placed. Everything, even the scissors, all the band-aids, even the iodine, everything is original. That's super cool. And this is what makes a well-kept classic car so interesting. Now let's go do the driving thing. It's been a while since I drove a manual.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a smooth shifting gearbox, and air conditioning is cool, and I can imagine daily driving this car. In fact,
Not bad, not bad.
Yeah.
It's, I did daily drive it for a while.
yeah,
The only thing I can say is in heavy traffic, the engine just doesn't like it. So
Yeah.
there's a bit of driveline shunt.
oh okay,
Difficult to keep it going. But once you're on the highway or you're flat out, that's in its element.
right. You see, I'm just slow speed at your third gear. It's still alright.
Oh yeah, you've got the torque.
Yeah.
I mean, when it was new, it was 300 Newton meters. Pretty decent by modern
For back
standards.
then, right? And you gotta love this thin rim steering wheel from this generation as well. It just feels perfect in your hands, and even though the steering wheel is big, but
Yeah, it's a bit vague around the straight, but that's part of the character, right?
not only that, I think the steering rack, of course, after so many years, it's sort of I guess it's wear and tear lah.
Wear and tear.
Yeah. So, how is it like actually maintaining this car, running this car, you know, and sourcing for parts. You mentioned the interior trimming.
Yeah. Interior and exterior trim is the hardest thing.
Right.
Simply because a lot of parts are unique to this car. Therefore, finding them now, a lot of them have been off the road or no longer in existence.
Yeah.
So, but there is a good global community, and you can still find parts.
Okay.
Mechanically, it's great because it shares parts with a lot of other models.
Right.
So what that means is, if it's not from another 7 Series, you can get it off a 5 Series and so on, right? I wouldn't advise this being your only car, right? But it is a very usable daily driver. Yeah. In fact, if it was automatic, it would be great for town.
Yeah, true.
It never overheats. I don't know how, but I've never filled the radiator reservoir in this car ever.
Serious?
Ever.
In all these 11
All
years
these
of
11
ownership?
years. It's always been there.
11 years and you've never filled the radiator? Oh my god.
So I guess it's fantastic that way.
Yeah. That is testament to BMW. That's a testament right there for everybody that thinks BMWs break down. 11 years of not filling up your radiator.
The car has broken down once in 11 years.
Yeah.
Okay, admittedly, I don't use it as much as my other cars, but the ones it did break down, the clutch pump gave way.
Oh, okay. That's just when tear.
Yeah, that's when. Apart from that, it's never left me stranded, which is more than I can say for modern cars. Right? Yeah.
I also actually really like the wood trimming in this car. Like these days, you get a lot of fake wood,
right?
So this is actually, you could make firewood out of this interior trim because they would actually.
You'd probably set fire to it.
Yeah.
You'd probably, stab yourself with a splinter if you had an accident. But you're right, it's real wood. You can see the grain, you can feel it.
Yeah.
The new cars, some of them are actually wood, but they're being made to look like they're not wood.
Yeah,
which
correct.
is sad.
It's sad, indeed. And this was BMW's, as you said, BMW's first attempt at creating a luxury car.
Yeah.
Back then, has the first ever 7 Series. It was designed to take on the likes of the S-Class, because the S-Class I think was introduced
60s.
Yeah, 60s. It was designed to take on the S-Class. It was designed to take on the Jaguars and Daimlers of their time. Hence why I think the interior space, I think the Jaguars are probably a little bit longer.
They are.
Yeah.
But the USP for BMW has always been it's a driver's machine.
Yeah.
And that's something that came across even back then. If you drove this back to back against an S-Class or a Jag of that era, this is far more a driver's car.
Yeah.
Those cars, if you put them in today's traffic, they would struggle to keep up.
Yeah.
This one is, it works well. Yeah. So that's, I think, something that BMW have really got right over the years.
Yeah.
Cars have evolved, technology has changed, but that driving the ultimate driving machine back then, that proposition has always been there.
It's sad that BMW doesn't market that more often now, ultimate driving machine, because that became synonymous with BMWs.
No, I think these days people don't like to drive,
It's true. Unfortunately,
yeah.
So all these buttons, everything, even the air conditioning is cool.
So the air conditioning, I redid from scratch.
Yeah.
The original was so this car is a local car, as in it was. I think at the time it was Prestige Auto, Premier Auto, these kind. And when they brought the cars in, these were US or Europe spec cars.
Right.
And the air conditioning didn't exist.
Oh.
So what the guys did was, there's a heater matrix inside. So the cars came with heaters.
Right.
They cut a hole on either side of the matrix.
Okay.
Shoved in a cooling coil.
Okay.
And then ran off that ventilation system. And this is what, in those days you used to spend 20,000 ringgit in 1980s value for air conditioning, right? So when I got the car and we took it apart and we looked at it, I think, my God, this is what it was back then.
Yeah.
So now we've got a modern system in, although the switches and vents and all that are as they were before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a modern system here. I mean, you have to, considering Malaysian weather and such.
Yeah. And I mean, you've got to bear in mind, Kashi, look, we are in 2022.
Yeah.
This car is from the 1980s.
Yes.
Our roads weren't as nice back then.
Yeah.
We didn't have global warming.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The temperatures weren't as hot as they are now.
Yeah.
So I think those are the elements that really show the age of the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it pulls really nicely as well.
Yeah.
I mean, overclutch there.
It's got that torque. 3.5 has that torque. The smaller ones don't have.
But I imagine that you could comfortably cruise on a highway.
Comfortably. You can do easily 110 kilometers.
Yeah, easily, right?
I won't say anything else.
I was just going to say that's probably conservative.
Yeah.
Right. Awesome. Well, there's definitely something special about cars of this generation, cars of this era. And the important thing is, cars like this are accessible. How much is a car like this right now if somebody wants to go out and source this?
Oh, now they are slowly rising, but still I think they're going for about 10, 15,000, although in somewhat poor condition.
Okay.
But you know, that's part of the joy, right? You do it up. I bought this car for 6,000 ringgit.
Right.
Back in 2011.
Yeah.
It was a runner, but as a we've done a lot of work to it.
Yep.
Probably somewhere in the region of about 40,000.
Oh, 40,000 ringgit worth of work.
Yeah.
But it's not just a one-time spend kind of thing.
No, it's over the years. You know?
Yeah.
I think the big ticket spends were rebuilding the engine and doing the bodywork.
Bodywork was also, I guess, progressive, but that...
actually, that was a one-time thing.
Oh, okay.
So when I got the car, it looked very clean from the outside, but it had a lot of hidden rust.
Okay.
Inside, under the panel, the bottom of the A-sills and all that.
Okay.
So when the engine was out to rebuild, we decided to completely redo the body as well.
Okay.
Strip down to bare metal.
Galvanized.
We did the galvanized coat, but also a lot of panels had to be re-welded.
Right.
New panels.
Yeah.
So then painted it. So now I think, for the next 30 years we don't have to worry.
Well, thank you, Deepak, for letting me drive your... obviously, there's no... I want to say baby, but that's probably the most overused term in classic car ownership. But it's definitely one of your... apple of your eye or something.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'm always happy to share experiences with you.
Appreciate it. Again, guys, so there you have it. Our short talk, or maybe not so short talk, about the E23 BMW 7 Series, the first ever 7 Series. Well, thank you again, Deepak, for letting me drive and appreciate this gorgeous car. Of course, if you're looking to start up your classic car journey with the E23, as Deepak said, it's actually quite a decent car and an easy car to maintain. Am I right, or am I getting ahead of myself?
No, you're absolutely right.
Right. So, any piece of advice, and
if you've always wanted to do it, just do it. Don't wait. You're not getting any younger.
Yeah. Neither is the car. And neither is it getting more cheaper, because classic cars are actually raising in value. And the good thing about maintaining cars like this is there's a decent community which you can rely on to help you source parts.
Decent community locally and globally.
There you go. All right. As usual, thank you for watching. I'm Kashi Dillon, this is Deepak, and we just told you about the E23 BMW 7 Series. If you have your attention up to this point, do consider subscribing.